And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Sands Hotel proudly presents the star of our show, direct from the bar.
Welcome to the Ford Show. I'm Ford. Tonight, as I record this, it is Black Wednesday. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You can watch the show on YouTube at Ford Podcast. I am coming to you from the MurderMyDebt.com studio. And you know what? We're back in the studio loft, Boogie Down Jones. I felt like the shows were lacking a little once we moved into the conference room setup that we had there for a couple of weeks. And a large part of that had to do with me being rushed to set everything up, tear everything down, to get home at a reasonable hour so I can edit and do all of that. And it just wasn't going to work out. So we are back in the studio loft, Boogie Down Jones. Joey Vegas would be here tonight with me, but he is too busy sailing the Caribbean. He did give me Vegas's picks for the week of NFL 13. So I do have those, and I'll give you those picks a little later. I am recording this on the eve of Thanksgiving. If you don't count Halloween, it's the first of the big two holidays. If you're one of those Halloween as a holiday people, then this is the middle of the big three. And I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. And I hope if you are drinking tonight on Black Wednesday, that you don't drive. Don't kill yourself the night before Thanksgiving. Your family would like to have a nice, normal dinner tomorrow. So try not to kill yourself. The new number for the voicemail, 917-979-3160. If you don't want to leave us a voicemail, you can email me, fordfeedback@gmail.com. I read every email. I love Thanksgiving. I really do. Thanksgiving is the best. The food. My God, the food. It's the only day of the year I eat turkey. The cranberry sauce. Do you like it out of the can? Do you like your grandma's? Do you like your mom's cranberry sauce where it's chunks of cranberry? I prefer the can, to be honest with you. I really do. I prefer the can. That's the noise that it makes when it plops out of the can. For those of you who don't know, I like that cranberry sauce. I like the stuffing. I like a good green bean casserole. My wife does the cooking, and I do the cleaning. Full slate of NFL games tomorrow as well. We'll get into that a little later when I give you Vegas's picks for the week. But we'll start this show, the Afterman. I know he's emailed in, but I don't know if he's ever given us his government name. But he had a story that he wanted me to cover on this show. He sent it to me today, and I did not prep myself. I did not read this story prior. I usually don't. For those of you that have ever wondered what happens behind the fourth wall of this podcast, I pick what we're going to talk about simply based off of the title of the article. I do not pre-read anything. I don't tell Joey Vegas what we're doing. He gets hit with everything on the fly. That's the way I like it. That's how I've always done it. I've been doing this stuff for a very long time. And we used to be live, so we'd be on the spot live, hitting people with stuff. Now we're recorded. I do a little editing. I can get a little creative. But for the most part, these guys, whoever's on the show with me, has no idea what we're going to do until I hit it with them with it. Same with this show. I don't even know what these articles are going to say. I just grabbed it because I was like, oh, this shit could be interesting. Let's do this. So this here is from the Afterman. Thank you for being a listener of the podcast. Obviously appreciate it. If you are not subscribed, please don't hesitate to do so. If you're on Spotify, you can watch the show now. I'm uploading the videos again instead of just the audios. If you want to watch us on YouTube, if you're on Apple and you'd rather watch us on YouTube, search at Ford Podcast and you'll find us there on YouTube. So Afterman sends me this article here. It's the terrifying inside story of how an innocent dad was tortured and killed by a group of chainsaw-wielding pedophile hunters after his wife falsely accused him of molesting their daughters. So this is like the Duke lacrosse players times 10. This guy was actually murdered. So it's a ruthless gang of drug-fueled vigilantes. You see some of these vigilantes on TikTok taking down some of these pedophiles. They're not using chainsaws. No, these guys here in Australia are using chainsaws to try to force a confession from this guy for crimes he did not commit. He's a father of 8. His nickname is BJ. You'd think he wouldn't have 8 kids if your nickname is BJ. But here we are. Bradley Lyons, the father of 8. Imagine that. No TV in the bedroom. He was tortured and executed after being betrayed by his meth-addled wife. Now, BJ, if your wife is hooked on meth, you probably want to be anywhere else in the world. You can't be with a meth head unless you're doing meth yourself, which I guess maybe we'll find out if BJ was doing meth as well. But Jana Hooper, she was a meth head, or she is a meth head, and she falsely accused him of sexually assaulting her daughter. So right there, we can establish right off the top that this lady is not all there. Right? CCTV capture from a neighbor's property showed Mr. Lyons follow his wife into their home, blissfully unaware of the horrors about to befall him. He would not be seen alive again after being stuffed into the boot of his soon-to-be killer's car and driven away. The cat's in the bag, Albert Thorne told the girlfriend of his co-accused Jordan Bottom, who along with Ricky Smith was found not guilty last week of Mr. Lyons' murder. Jessica McFarlane, the then girlfriend of Bottom, had been living in a caravan down by the river with him on Thorne's Nemerlang farm when he arrived with Mr. Lyons still trapped in the boot of his car. Now, when they say in the boot of his car, I'm assuming that means the trunk. But I don't know. My assumption would be in the boot, and I don't have Joey Vegas to Google this stuff for me. So somebody will have to correct me if they wish. FordFeedback@gmail.com is the email address. But the BJ stuck in a boot. Miss McFarlane told the Supreme Court of Victoria jury Thorne had claimed to have had Mr. Lyons trapped in the car's boot for up to 21 hours under the baking summer sun. Thorne, 57, was found guilty this month of the torture, imprisonment, and murder of Mr. Lyons. I walked over to the car that was parked under the tree and tapped on the boot, and I heard someone scream in the back of the car, Miss McFarlane told the jury. Asked what she heard, Miss McFarlane, gave a chilling response. "Get me out of here or kill me now," she said. Thorne had been the leader of a vigilante gang with a very specific hatred for pedophiles. Now, that could be admired, right? Being against pedophiles, that could be admired. I could get behind that. I could get behind being a vigilante who takes out pedophiles. Such was Thorne's hatred for pedophiles. He tattooed the gang's name, Australian Freedom Fighters, across his entire back and posted photographs to his Facebook. It had been spurious intel provided by Hooper, who shared 3 biological children with Lyons, that lit Thorne's fuse. In December of 2018, Hooper told Thorne she believed Mr. Lyons was the father of her 16-year-old daughter's child and had also made her 14-year-old daughter pregnant. Court heard it was a straight-out lie. On Sunday, December 2, 2018, Thorne and his gang raided Mr. Lyons' home in what was supposed to be an idiotic attempt to beat a confession out of him. Aided by another mate, Alec Harvey, and Thorne's drug-addled lieutenant, Nicholas Stefani, the men ran into Mr. Lyons' bedroom and each punched him in the face and head. Harvey struck him with a metal pole, and Smith lashed out while holding a cigarette lighter between his fingers as a knuckle duster. Never heard of that one before. Stefani forced the barrel of a shotgun into Mr. Lyons' mouth and threatened to kill him if he didn't confess to the sexual assault allegation. CCTV shows Harvey and Smith run from the home, with Smith falling out of the getaway vehicle driven by yet another mate, Jaden Ball. Mr. Lyons was eventually dragged out of the boot of Thorne's car to an old shed on his property, where things went from bad to worse for the terrified dad. So now I'm pretty much convinced that the boot is the trunk. I wonder why they refer to it as the boot. The court heard Thorne was giddy with excitement. I could see Bert getting ready, getting really turned on and getting some sort of pleasure from this, Miss McFarland told the jury. What happened next is not exactly clear to the cloudy haze of meth-induced accounts that followed. One account had the man sawing Mr. Lyons' hand off. The jury was told only 93% of Mr. Lyons' skeleton was recovered, with both feet, bones from his hands, and a neck bone missing. What is clear is that Mr. Lyons was subjected to hideous torture that left him on the brink of life. During Stefani's sentence in December over his role in the crime, the court heard a chainsaw was among the gang's torture tools. A chainsaw was never held over his head to make him talk. He was punched, hot water from a kettle was poured on him, and deep heat was put into his body. Stefani later told one of his own daughters that at the farm, a chainsaw had been held over Mr. Lyons, that they kept making him piss himself. Sure, that was fun. You said to one of the girls that it was your expectation that before the end of the night, Lyons would have the tattoos of the girls' names cut off of him and would be a few knuckles down. You told one of the girls that it made you sick what you had to do. And when they were done, by all accounts, without having extracted a confession, Mr. Lyons was stuffed back into the boot of Thorne's car with towels taped around his head and his hands bound. Thorne, Smith, and Bottom drove out into the wilderness along a dirt track near Double Bridges. There, Mr. Lyons was made to wait while a shallow grave was dug. Imagine that. When it was ready, Thorne blasted Mr. Lyons in the leg with a .410 shotgun. On his knees, another shot was put into the back of his skull. Bottom would later lead police to the burial site, which had a large log dragged over it. A single shotgun cartridge remained at the scene. The court heard the man had celebrated their crime, holding a party at Thorne's property in which Mr. Lyons' own wife and children attended. It looked like they were celebrating, Miss McFarland told the jury. Jana was drinking, but I thought it was a bottle of whiskey or something, and they were cheering like, yep. Hooper was jailed last year for 7.5 years and will be eligible for parole after serving just 4.5. Smith was 26. Bottom was 25. They were found not guilty of Mr. Lyons' murder, but the pair were found guilty of his assault and false imprisonment. Thorne, he's the head guy in all of this, will face a pre-sentence hearing later this year. So we still don't know why this woman told these guys that Mr. Lyons had knocked up their daughters. That is fucked up to say that about this poor guy. Afterman with the story of the week there. Thank you for that, Afterman. That's fucked up. I think that's got to be the worst way to go. I think everyone could probably agree that being burnt alive would be 1. Drowning would be 2, especially for those like myself who don't know how to swim. And then 3 would be something like this, where you're slowly tortured. I'm trying to think what could be worse than one of those three. I don't think there is. Let me know if you disagree, or help me out if you think I'm missing a way. 917-979-3160. Leave me a voicemail. Or you could email me, forwardfeedback@gmail.com. A couple of weeks ago, we covered the Menendez brothers. I just wanted to briefly bring them up. Their court date has been moved to January, so there will be no Thanksgiving with Eric and Lyle. There will be no Christmas with Eric and Lyle. They will still be in prison until at least next year. Let me tell you something about Southern California specifically. There is a car chase culture where they are a big deal. And they happen a lot. They happen more times than you think they do. And when I say they're a big deal, we break in live, breaking news. They got somebody up in the multiple news stations. We'll have their guys up in the chopper filming it. Car chases in California are a big deal. Now, what I would wonder, and I ponder here just as I'm doing this and as I'm talking about it, I wonder if it started in 94 with OJ. That would definitely be something that I would have to look into. But there is a hunger, and people love their car chases in California. And I now am one of those people. I love a good car chase. Now, most of the time, the car chases end with the spike strip going down, the defendant going over the spike strip, coming to a stop. Maybe there's a standoff. Maybe they shoot some pellets, some bean bags. Maybe the guy gets out and he starts running and then they catch him. But most of the time, they end peacefully. There's been a couple where it was a big time wreck at the end. But for the most part, they're going to end peacefully. Unlike the one that ended yesterday. So, to set the stage, and I have two videos, because again, every car chase makes it to TV. Every single one of them. Every single car chase will make it to TV. The longer the go, the more coverage they get. The more news outlets there, it's a whole thing. Stu is the guy in the chopper. He's the famous guy. He's made a living off of doing commentary and being the chopper in the sky for these car chases here in Southern California. And there was one yesterday. It was a guy in a Maserati who was wanted for a domestic. I was not watching this one live, but what made this chase catch my eye is how it ended. So there's two different news stations that are covering this chase and film the end. And I could tell you this, I'm sure it's happened in the past. I don't remember it happening, at least since I've been here, where the chase ends with the defendant getting just smoked on live TV. Now, you're going to see, I got the videos. You're going to see, well, I don't want to give you any spoilers. I've already said too much. So we're going to start with the first shot, which gives us one view. And then I'll show you the second shot, which gives us the best view. Here's shot number one. Now, again, this is live TV yesterday in the middle of the afternoon here in Southern California. Here it is.
That suspect getting out of the vehicle and just basically kind of parked the vehicle and getting inside. You know, maybe not the most dramatic ending, but definitely the endings that we want to see. Like right now, that vehicle definitely stopped. Law enforcement, you can see the helicopter above. Officers arriving here on scene. This may turn into some sort of standoff, but clearly that driver parking the vehicle, going inside this apartment complex. We're going to listen in and see if we can get some information about what the officers are going to do. Oh, never mind. Oh, no.
So, as you could see, it's a shootout, right? So let's show you, I want to show you the second shot from another helicopter, from another news station. And this shot is actually the best shot, which is why I saved it for last. So this is from the other side of the situation. And here's that one.
This apartment complex here on West Boulevard and Jefferson Boulevard. Yeah, he's got his hood up. Okay, so we'll widen out here. It looks like, okay, so several units from the LAPD. Okay, so there's a little bit of confusion here. The helicopter is trying to, so we got, so we're going to widen out here. We got a shootout that's happening here right in the driveway here of this apartment complex. We're going to widen.
So as you could see there, he comes walking through the alley with two guns drawn, two handguns, like it's Grand Theft Auto, but in real life. And he just gets smoked on live television. And the panic in the chopper's voices. Wide, go wide, go wide. No. And then they go wide, but it's a little too late. This dude got smoked. You never see that. Never. But when you have been in a chase with the police and you come out of a back parking lot alley and you start shooting, that's it. The game will be over and you will die, as you should. You're either going to die or you're going to kill all the cops there. But eventually you will be dead. Some may classify this as suicide by cops. This guy could have easily gotten out of the Maserati, laid on the concrete, put his hands behind his head, and waited for the cops to show up and arrest him. It could have been that simple. And he would have done some time. But it's California. You barely do any time. You'll be out in no time at all. Gotta know your area. It's California. Soft on crime, baby. Hard on taxes. He could have gotten out of the Maserati, got down on the ground, and waited to get his Miranda rights read to him. But he made a choice. And his choice was, I'm going to walk through down this driveway, and I'm going to come out on the other side of this apartment building, and I'm going to be firing off two handguns at police officers. And he made the decision that he was ready for his life to end for whatever reason. Clearly, he's got some issues. Now, from what I understand, some kind of domestic with somebody he knew who drove a bus. I'm a little sketchy on the specifics because honestly, I don't care. I just know that there's one less criminal walking around. There's one less criminal sitting in jail with his life being funded by taxpayers. Now, this was LA County, but he made a decision. Walk down that driveway and come out the other side with 2 handguns out, shooting at cops. You deserve to die. And he did. And I think the other person in that clip there, I think it was his mom. I think she got clipped. I think he probably drove to her apartment. I believe that's what I heard. But man, and that's why I think Southern Californians specifically love the car chase. This is the car chase culture out here. And part of the reason is for crazy shit like this to happen, where it looks like Grand Theft Auto in real life. And that's what happens. Chicks that run, there's dudes that run, there's dudes that run with chicks in the car, and they get out at stoplights and they start running. It is a whole thing here. It's wild. I had no idea that it existed. And I'm willing to guess it started with OJ. I could be completely wrong. They could have been doing this since the 70s. I don't know. But when you ask me, what was the first car chase you ever saw? I'm going to tell you O.J. Simpson. And now that I live here, they happen pretty regularly, to the point where there's been times where I've said to people I know, there hasn't been a chase in a while. Sometimes you just miss them. But they happen a lot. It is a car chase culture here in Southern California. All right. Let's go to Vegas's picks. We'll bring back the Vegas's picks intro. I've been wanting Joey Vegas to pay tribute to Mike Francesa. He's a New York sports radio guy. And when he used to do his NFL picks on WFAN, he used to start it with this. In the league where they play for pay. And then the music. Nobody knows what that means in the league where they play for pay. Nobody knows what that even means. Every league pays everybody. But it was something they always said. And I've been trying to get Joey Vegas to say it. And he wouldn't. But guess what? I'm in charge of Vegas's picks. Me. I'm in charge. So for NFL Week 13, here are Vegas's picks in the league where they play for pay. He is 20-16 on the season, so he's having a great year. 20-16. His first pick of the week is Steelers +3. So that's Steelers +3. His second pick is Bills -7. And the third pick, the Commanders, or as I like to call them, the Redskins, -5.5. So to recap, NFL Week 13, Vegas's picks. Steelers at +3, the Bills at -7, and the Commanders at -5.5. So those are Vegas's picks for the week, and he'll be back next week. And I'll leave you with this before I get out of here for this week. There's a thing with Uber Eats where you can now, if you had to get something picked up from somewhere, like an envelope, and get it dropped off somewhere else, you needed it done today, you can do that now with Uber Eats. So a New Jersey Uber Eats driver thought she was delivering a customer a burrito. when a strong, unmistakable odor led her to discover that she was actually muling marijuana. The woman picked up what appeared to be a normal food order from a location in Lindenwold, Camden County on Friday night. A burrito wrapped in tinfoil, a soup, and a water bottle. But as she was driving, she recognized the odor because she's a pothead. She recognized the odor coming from the bag of food. It wasn't carnitas. Now, she pulled over and called the police. Officer arrived and inspected the package curbside and determined, guess what? This is not a burrito meal. There was no meat. There was no lettuce. There was no beans. There was no rice. But there was an ounce of the devil's lettuce. Photos from the department show the Ziploc closed bag of pot crumbled up inside the aluminum foil. If you're watching, you're seeing that now. Look at that. That's a pretty good idea there, actually. If I'm going to be honest, that's pretty slick. The food did not come from a restaurant, meaning it's likely the suspects were using Uber's option to deliver a package. Uber does not, of course, allow for the delivery of marijuana, medication, alcohol, or other illegal substances. An Uber spokesperson described the incident as deeply disturbing and urging drivers to contact local authorities if they see or smell anything suspicious. No charges have been filed in the case. Washington Township Police said they experienced a similar situation over the summer when an Uber driver was asked to deliver bogus gift cards. It is the night before Thanksgiving as I record this podcast. It is the first of the big two holidays. If you're a weirdo who thinks Halloween's a holiday, I'm sorry, it's not. But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that Thanksgiving is the middle. But unlike the middle child, the Thanksgiving is very important. And I hope that everybody has a great Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy your family, your loved ones. And hey, man, let us know about the political fights. This, of course, is the first Thanksgiving since the election that happened earlier this month. And there's going to be some Trumpers and some never Trumpers fighting at the dinner table tomorrow. It is going to be interesting. Politics is the one thing that can separate families. Not even football rivalries can separate families like politics seems to do nowadays. It's the strangest shit. Strange. So weird. I would never let politics get in the way of being friends with somebody. I don't know how you people do it. I really don't. But there are going to be households across the country that are coming together for the first time since the election. Just remember that all politicians hate you. And there's no reason to fight with your family who loves you. Because politicians don't love you. Whether it's the orange guy or it's the bitch. They don't love you. Your family, they love you. So don't fight with grandpa because he's not a liberal. Don't fight with your sister because she's a liberal. Just let it go. It's over. No reason to shove the wind in their face. They probably cried already. And there's no reason to be angry because your side lost. It's okay. All politicians hate you anyway. They hate me. They hate everybody. So don't turn your back on your loved ones over politics. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching and listening.
Good night, jabroni marks without a life that don't know if it's a work when you work a work and work yourself into a shoot. Marks.
See ya!